before I bring anything to you guys on TikTok, I fact check it to make sure. I even fact check ChatGPT, okay? Because I want to make sure to be as accurate with you guys as I can. I make a mistake here and there every so often, but I try to fact check all of the time. But I want you to listen to this. And after you listen to this, I'm going to bring up something that I went ahead and researched.
This is insane. Over 7,000 Chinese EVs just showed up in Brazil. But here's the twist. They didn't get unloaded. They drove off the ship themselves. Seriously. A few days ago, this giant ship pulled into Itajaí port. BYD's own ship, the Shenzhen. It's 200 meters long, 38 meters wide. Basically a 60-story building on water. But the real shock? It carried 7,292 electric cars, all made in China. Not parts, not containers. A full-blown EV army. Dock workers were like, this isn't shipping. This is a landing. And no cranes were used. The ship has ramps, front, back, both sides. It's called row, roll on, roll off. The cars just drive off in a line, about 100 cars per hour, like leaving a parking garage. So why go all out? Because BYD's Brazil factory isn't ready yet, and instead of waiting, they said, fine, we'll build ships and deliver cars ourselves. Other car companies use shipping firms. BYD, they built a fleet, and Shenzhen, that's just the start. More are coming. Changsha, Xi'an, 8 ships total, a full-on EV navy. This isn't just exporting cars, it's China saying, we don't just make cars, we control the road and the sea. Now here's the real question. If a BYD EV pulled up in your city, would you drive one? Comment below. Down.
The reason I brought this up was to make several points and to show you the difference in economies, all right? I've pointed out that China, for all practical purpose, has a sort of quasi-capitalist economy, but not quite, right? And the United States have a capitalist economy, but not quite. It's more of a fascist economy, okay? But here's the thing that I find ironic. All the things that Donald Trump is doing right now, right, is going to shrink our market share of cars. By putting the tariffs in an irresponsible manner, it's going to make our stuff for us more expensive without having an option out. Let me give an example, and I'm going to get back to this in a minute. We don't grow coffee except for in parts of Hawaii and maybe other territories. We don't grow coffee. So it doesn't make sense for us to have a tariff on coffee. We just would be raising money on that tariff. It makes no sense. We don't make bananas in any quantities. So it makes no sense to have tariffs on bananas because we're not going to start growing bananas if it becomes too expensive because we just don't have the climate and the industrial base for bananas. So it makes no sense. Now, on other things, we don't control the inputs. We've long gotten rid of the textile equipment that controls the inputs and all these other things. So it makes no sense to have tariffs on most of these things because all it does is raise the cost to Americans without even the inference that we are going to build those factories. And as it raises the cost on Americans, and we don't reinvest that money from the tariffs back into the economy, it goes to the wealthy people. It depresses the economy. And as it depresses the economy, what happens? You don't have to build factories anymore because the economy is depressed. Nobody's there to buy the stuff, right? So we are doing everything to screw our economy. And then don't talk about the economy of the future. Electric vehicles, windmills, solar panels, etc. Trump, these guys are building in Panama, inside of Brazil, even in Mexico, docks that are amenable to these kinds of technologies. We don't even build the ships that we import stuff on, right? So here you have BYD. You remember what happened during the pandemic? Where because we were dependent on so many other pieces, we were insecure. Well, look at the ingenuity of Chinese companies. BYD have its own fleet to move its own products, cars, electric cars around the world. So here these people are investing in electric cars, investing in batteries, investing in transporting these cars to the final market. And we are arguing about tariffs. And we are arguing about gender. And we are arguing about all these other silly things. as Donald Trump sells access to TikTok, as Donald Trump sells access to media. If one of the reasons I do this program, and I ask all of you guys to share it as well, of course, is to hope that we can get people to start critically thinking. Now look, there are some that are allergic to critical thinking. Critical thinking is like kryptonite to them. And I see a couple in the news feed here. But that's not who we're trying to talk to. We're trying to talk to people who can actually go another level of indirection in their thinking. To be able to say, oh my God, Donald Trump is not just stalling our progress. He's actually pulling us backwards. With all those plants that are closing down in Maine, the solar panels and the windmills that are on the East Coast that are shutting down and no longer subsidized to give them the power up. For all of this that is occurring, folks, as slowly with China's Belt and Roads, with China populating the world with well-priced EVs and over and over doing the right thing. What is sad is that we have allowed what in the old days would have called the know-nothings. We have allowed the know-nothings to take control of this country. The know-nothings of taking control of this country. And it's harming us to the core. And it will render us. Do you remember we used to like to call Russia the gas station of the world? It's just a superpower that's a gas station. We're gonna be just a superpower that's a military machine. If you want a war, hire us. We'll fight. We'll provide all the arms and all of that, but that's all we're gonna be good for. And it's gonna be raw arms as well. But good innovation, it's no longer gonna be coming from here. Let me give another good example as to this. Right now we are lacking in our educational system. Okay, so in order to move forward quickly in programming, quickly in all these things, yes, we have to develop these people in our own schools. But we've been importing a lot of these people from foreign lands, doctors, nurses, engineers, computer programmers. Why? Because our STEM suck. You can ask the teachers in our chat how hard it is because we've been cutting budgets for education as the wealthy gets wealthier. So we have had to import our intellect. And it shows with some of the folks that we have here, right? We have had to import our intellect. And what did Trump do today? $100,000 for an H1B visa. So now they're going to charge companies, which means only big companies going to be able to afford this, to bring thinking people into our domain, in our country. It's almost like Donald Trump is attempting to create a depression. And it's not going to be worldwide. It's not going to be worldwide. It's almost like he's trying to create a United States depression. And in doing so, then buying up everything. We are in such dire straits right now. And what we have people like Cindy and others doing is great work. But we have so much more to do. Patrick Magner says most high-level PhD graduates were immigrants. Imagine that. So, folks, let me just say this, right? We have a lot of work to do, but we can do it. And I want to urge all of you not to be despaired, but to hold, like Cindy and her cohort have, hold the bull by the horns. All of our country's problems, from polarization to ignorance on domestic and international issues to a complete misunderstanding of our economic and healthcare systems, are a direct result of a derelict mainstream media that too often bend over backwards to support corporate or bought politicians' wants as opposed to the people's needs for real information to make their lives better. Independent media is the only solution to inform truthfully and factually. Why? Because our loyalties are to you, the ones who fund us with small dollar contributions and subscriptions. Please consider supporting our independent media platforms by subscribing to our Egberto Off the Record newsletter at politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. Again, that is politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. It's an investment that pays incalculable dividends.